Welcome to Actions, Not Words, Our Voices, Our Paths. At Rosemont College, we are blessed with a mission and values rooted in the life and teachings of Cornelia Conley and exemplified by the Society of the Holy Child Jesus. Our Centennial project team was honored to talk with 9 alumni about how their experience as part of Rosemont's joyful learning community supported them in finding their voice and shaped their chosen path in life. Please join me in listening to our conversation with Kathleen Mullan Rotondaro, class of 1965.
My name is Kathleen Rotondaro. I go by Kathy. I graduated in 1965 and my major was French. Of course, I was focused on learning. I was a scholarship student. I did my best, but I think I was at that time also very interested in just the experience of being in college, socializing, having fun, that kind of thing. And it took me to graduating from Rosemont and getting out in the world to really reflect what I learned there, because what happened to me was that I was a French major, and we were all liberal arts majors then. That's what we did. There really was no practical basis for the way I saw my education. It was really to learn. But then I got out in the world, and that's kind of, I think, when I realized the value of learning and the need to continue it, because I worked for a while using my French at the National Security Agency, because it was a job in my field, and and that's what we were looking for. But I learned pretty quickly there that that wasn't what I wanted to do. And then I did a couple of things. One, I just left that job and took 4 months and just hitchhiked around Europe. And when I came back, I knew that I learned a lot from that, to be honest. It was a really mind-expanding kind of experience. And I then switched fields entirely. And it was the time of the Great Society and anti-poverty programs. And that's really what I learned I wanted to do. So I became a temp, barely getting by on the money, but I looked for a job in the cities, and I would say I was looking to make a difference. I think actions, not words, which is a motto of Cornelia Conley, that really resonated with me, and that led me really into my career, which lasted 40 years in the field of affordable housing. So even though I think I wasn't consciously looking for the joy of learning when I was at Rosemont, something happened there that led me, and really our whole class. I don't want to toot the horn of the class of 65, but when I see now the things that we all did, I really feel like we got that from our Rosemont education. One thing at Rosemont that I remember was Father Nemec. He taught us about Teilhard de Chardin, and that message of being Christian and working in the world. I really learned that, and it resonated with me, and so I ended up after applying to every program that had urban in it, or city or anything, I ended up, luckily enough, becoming an intern at HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which had just been started in 1965. And I always felt that of all the things I wanted to do that would help anybody, I felt like housing was a basic need, and that the dignity for the dignity of every person, they deserved a place to live. And mostly, I think every day I got up and was really happy and grateful to be working in this field. So I'd say actions more than words was what really motivated me. I kind of think the whole atmosphere of Rosemont and the values that were in every aspect of Rosemont affected me. I don't recall anybody specifically saying you have to care about the dignity of an individual, but actually people did care about us as an individual, the sisters and the teachers. And it was for me, I was a scholarship student, so it was a great experience to be in such a pretty small, caring environment. And I think the whole way that Rosemont was run, the whole spirit that was there took hold in me. There was a really strong vibe that, you really, your role in life was to get married, have children. And I feel like we were at the cusp of a different kind of feeling. And I think Rosemont gave us what we needed to not only pursue that as a great goal, but also to do something for the world and in the world. Just the need to treat each person with dignity, and how to be a parent evolved out of that same thing. And I'm really struck, not just by what happened to me, but when I go back to reunions and see our class, which, I see more than other classes, coming out at a time when I think getting married was a huge objective in the social life of the world, people really did a lot of amazing things. And that's just not a coincidence. We got that from Rosemont. I mean, and we were treated right. And I kind of think, the dignity aspect comes from that. You were treated as somebody who could do things, and we did. I was just sort of lucky that everything fell in place for me to do those things. And, and I also feel like eventually in my job, company did very well. And in 2005, my business partner and I sold the company, which was a very nice financial event for us. And also around that time, so that allowed me to also give back in the way of serving on Rosemont's board, for example, and other kinds of places. And my husband and I were very similarly inclined. And so that was another way that I was able to kind of pursue this idea of the dignity of people, because we were fortunate enough to get the resources that allowed us to really serve on boards and contribute just not only our thoughts and our whatever our expertise was, but also to donate money, which we had a goal of doing, and we were able to do, and that was lucky. And being on the board of Rosemont was a great experience, and especially at the time I was there, when Sharon Hirsch led us into the idea of becoming co-ed, was a dynamic time and a great time to be on the board, and met a lot of great people. In those days, really, if you were going to college, you were going to a Catholic women's college. And in my case, it was going to be a Catholic women's college around where we lived, because really my parents could not afford to send me away to college. So I remember I applied to Immaculata and Rosemont, and I don't know about Chestnut Hill, that was kind of far, but Rosemont was the best, in my opinion, considered the best, and I ended up going there. And then I had Mother Dennis, who people may remember. I worked in the library for Mother Dennis. She was a little bit fierce, but I did my job, and we had a tremendous group of day students. I think we were such good friends. I had a carpool that we all came from sort of the Drexel Hill area. When we have our reunions, I feel like everybody it didn't matter if you were a day hop or boarder, people's all whatever the friendships were then, or the groups you associated with, people really feel like one community now. Well, we were at a good time in between kind of the vibe of the 50s, which I think really lasted into the 60s, where there were, standards you could understand, and in the 60s were the beginning where everything was going to be remade. But I feel like it was the hopeful part of that. There maybe came a time later in the 70s when things went the other way a little bit, but we were there when we were, the idea of remaking the world, and even the idea of what it meant to be a Catholic were really being looked at big time.